We're living very, very comfortable lives. And a lot of bad things happen in the world, right, which we didn't create. I don't blame the Rwandan mother, right, for seeing her family massacred in front of her. So there's one position that says we create our own reality. That's position A. That's, let's say, position, that's all the way on the left. Position B is we create none of our reality, we're victims. Those are the two extreme positions. I think the more intelligent and the more true position, the deeper position is, no, I don't create my own reality, and I'm not a victim. There's a contribution system. And in the contribution system, I participate in creating a dimension of my reality for which I need to take response-ability, and, as the Talmud says, shit happens, right? And you need to deal with that, and sometimes I am victimized. And I need to know the balance between the two and be able to hold that together. So that's a position that seems to me to be very, 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 very powerful. So before I try to apply it to realities that we both know about, does that work? I mean, I really basically just said in a different way what you said, actually.
Exactly.
And we're basically saying the same thing here.
Exactly.
Okay. So that creates a pretty powerful frame. That's a pretty powerful frame. So in that sense, both men and women need to own their power, right? And we'll get to power in a second. That's something you talked about this morning. I want to get to that specific topic. But men and women need to own their power, right? So let me try and say it like this, and I'll try and get the idea out, and then I'll pass it over to you. Because we're in a whole new field here. So men need to own their power in the sense that a man can't say, she said no, but I got carried away, right? Because if she said no, and you got carried away, that's actually rape, right? Now, so part of a man's obligation is to own his power, right? And because a man is actually physically often more powerful than a woman, right? So we have a kind of beautiful protection against the vulnerable one, right? And we have a kind of a whole set of laws, against rape, right? So that's a man who has to own his power, right? No is actually no, right? There's a whole complex other question, which I've never been involved with in my life per se, right? But there's a complex other question, which is what if the woman is saying no but acting yes?
Right, it wasn't wrong with saying no and acting yes.
Right.
I stop.
Right, kiss me, right. Now, so that's a complex question. So let's talk about that separately. I'd like to talk about that. That's an important question. So let me put that aside. But let's talk about for a second about a straight no. Right? Straight no. Let's slap. Right, say no, slap. Exactly, right. That's a straight no. So when a man overpowers that no, right, that's a violation, right, of male power. Right? It's a violation of the vulnerable, of the helpless. It's an inappropriate deployment of power and deserves kind of, correctly societal, restraint and censure. So that's one. Women also have power. They have all sorts of power. They have intellectual power, right? They have feminine radiant power, right? They have sexual power, right? They have verbal power, right? Women, men and women both have power. The image of the powerless woman and the powerful man, that's something I hope feminism did away with. What feminism actually tried to say was, women are powerless. Women are autonomous and powerful. And so what's happening now is actually a little bit paradoxical and tragic, because even though that's what feminism came to say, first wave feminism, right? What then happened was a particular dimension of feminism emerged, which is called by a number of people, Naomi Wolf, in different ways, Daphne Patai, Kathy Young talks about it, Laura Kipnis talks about it, and there's a whole series of very serious feminist theorists. I believe that the thinker you quoted, Dennis Prager, talks about it. Warren Farrell talks about it. A book called The Myth of Male Power. Right? They talk about this thing which they call victim feminism. And victim feminism, as opposed to what we might call power feminism, Jane Gallup's phrase, right, says women are basically powerless and victims. Right? He did it to me. Now, we're not talking about rape. If there's a he did it to me in rape, that's a real thing. We're talking about, there's a relationship. The relationship's fully mutual. It's fully consensual. I think mutual is a better word than consensual, by the way. Because consensual is a technical legal word. Mutual means there's real mutuality. Consensual can mean the boss can say, if the boss says, hey, you'll get a raise, if you come with me for a weekend, and she comes for a weekend and have consensual sex, that's consensual, but it's sexual harassment. right? So I don't want, the consensual word doesn't matter to me. I want to say the word mutual is a better word. So they have a relationship that's completely mutual, where both man and woman, right, engage, initiate, etc. And that doesn't work. And then she goes back and rereads the story, reworks the story, and it becomes a harassment story. That's a violation of feminine power. That's actually not okay, right? That's a violation, right, of male vulnerability, right? Just like, right, the man using his power after the woman says no, right, is a violation of feminine vulnerability. And that kind of the recognition that actually men aren't powerful and women aren't victims as a default position. Actually, men are powerful and women are powerful. Men are vulnerable and women are vulnerable. Men lie and women lie. There's masculine shadow and there's feminine shadow. And so I'm going to expand on these ideas a little bit, but I just wanted to offer that up to kind of move out of the kind of theoretical victim structure that you set up and I expanded on to bring it into the realm of actual relationships between the masculine and feminine. It's all yours, sir. Thoughts? Comments? You were writing there a little bit.
Yeah. The following analogy is not fully true, but it's true enough to be interesting and relevant to what you just said. With every lover, the man grows bigger and stronger. And with every lover, a woman loses a petal from her rose.
Well, that takes us in a little bit of a different direction. So I just want to repeat it out loud for myself to think about it, as you said it. So with every lover, a man grows larger,
bigger and stronger.
Like
flower opening out to the sun, bigger and stronger.
Okay, and with every lover, right, a woman loses a petal from her rose. That's very interesting. Is that your phrase?
Now I heard it from someone.
Right.
Somewhere.
It's quite a beautiful phrase. I just want to think about it out loud.
And I'm not saying it's 100% true. I'm saying
there's a moment
it's true enough to be a counter to some of the ideas that you were just offering.
Okay. So let me, without challenging the idea, I just want to first try and understand it. I think you said to me this morning, you called it active listening, which is not exactly, but I hope I'm close to it, which is I want to first fully inhabit the idea, right, without kind of blabbing about it, just inhabit the idea. So I'm just kind of extemporaneous now. So what that would mean is that there's kind of that a man is there's a part of masculinity in this kind of saying aphorism, which kind of is expansive, is polyamorous, right? Is not monogamous by nature, right? And there's a kind of male expansion, which happens by being with many women, and there's a natural male desire to expand. Okay, that'd be the first part.
Yeah, in biological terms, I guess they're like populating a village.
Spreading seed, right? Populating a village, right? Spreading seed, right? Populating a village.
Like a male biological imperative.
Kind of a male biological imperative, okay? And there's also, in this, again, we're not talking about its truth or not. We're just trying to inhabit the phrase. There's a kind of expansiveness. At the same time, there's a kind of, the Greek goddess Hera. It was about hearth. There's a feminine hearth quality, which is actually that her full blossom is achieved in kind of that exclusive and one relationship, with the one man. And that every lover, she kind of loses a petal. Now you understand this for a second, some feminists would kind of kill you on this.
Oh,
right. I know, right. Oh my God, what did he say? So you hope they're not listening and they don't have your address. Okay, right? That's important. But the kind of idea that you're pointing out, right, rests on the given that there would be there's kind of a difference between masculine and feminine nature.
Yeah, and that it's not okay to have mutual affairs with women.
Say it again. That's not.
It's not okay to have mutual affairs with women.
Meaning, what do you mean by mutual
Well,
affairs?
you're talking about mutuality rather than consent.
Right.
And that if there's mutuality in a relationship, then it's not a relationship between victim and powerful, but it's a relationship between equals. And I'm challenging and saying that